Coming up now is another sparkling Two Mics podcast.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mics. I'm delighted to say Mr. Mike Parry is live with us, or at least I think he's live, right here with us in the studio. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah, good morning, Mike. I am well alive enough to know that the drivel you normally talk about, Wayne Rooney, has reached super drivel levels tonight.
What do you mean?
What a ridiculous theory.
I think it's
and you can't
theory.
possibly believe in it. You can't possibly believe in that crazy theory. Oh, Louis van Gaal set up Wayne Rooney as captain so that he would fall.
Well, yeah, I think so.
He'd fall.
Because
Rubbish.
how else is he going to keep him out of the team?
He's not going to keep him out of the team. In fact, what's going to happen is what you've completely missed, what is so obvious to me and anybody else who's got half a brain, is that Wayne Rooney will be so missed in the next 3 games that he's going to miss. Because
I don't think he will.
Of course he will. He'll be badly missed. Wayne Rooney is the heartbeat of Manchester United. While you've got all these new players trying to settle in, while you've got players who are disparate amongst each other, trying to come together and form a team, disparate, I do not need correcting on my English from somebody like you. And Wayne Rooney is the one piece of glue in that team, the one piece of cement that's pulling it all together. He's the hardest working.
He wasn't thinking like that when he got himself sent off,
no, he's trying too hard. All the stats show that he runs more than the other players.
But I told you that's what would happen.
More successful players.
But I told you that would happen.
You didn't tell me
anything.
Yes, I did.
You went on and on. You went on weeks ago.
You couldn't tell me whether it's night or day. You couldn't tell me whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday. You couldn't even tell me if it's 2014. So don't tell me you could tell me anything.
No, I said this to you at the time. You went raving on about what a great leader Wayne Rooney was going to be for England and for Manchester United.
He is a great leader.
And I said, no, he won't be because the red mist will come down. He will get sent off.
It wasn't red mist.
It was red mist.
It wasn't red mist.
Well, you're going to say he calculated to do that.
No, not at all. It was a miscalculation of a tackle. A tackle that should have gone in around the ankle to stop...
Well, he hit him around the waist.
To stop we didn't hit him around the thigh. To stop the opposition from breaking was one that he was going to take for the team, a yellow card.
Well, no, it was a straight red. It had to be a straight red.
Exactly. I'm not disagreeing with the referee's decision. He had to be sent off. It was a far too high a tackle, but it wasn't intended. It wasn't deliberate. And the new Wayne Rooney took his punishment, walked off the pitch, apologised to his teammates afterwards, and realises he's done wrong. But
he's not supposed to do that if he's captain. That's my point.
But who is one of the best captains of any domestic team in Britain? I would say Steven Gerrard.
Yes.
Who again made his importance to Liverpool known in the Everton-Liverpool derby. He's a captain who's been sent off more than once. I think it's 3 times. And
that's not as many times as Wayne Rooney's been sent off, though, is it?
As captain, I'm saying.
Yeah.
As captain.
Well, he's only been captain for 5 games, Wayne Rooney, hasn't he?
Nevertheless, what I'm saying is that Steven Gerrard's been sent off a lot more times than once as captain and had to suffer the penalty and had to miss games and could not bring his influence to bear on the team. That's exactly what Wayne Rooney's going to have to go through now. It will be an agonising 3-game spell for him, but...
It will be, but it will be a very interesting 3-game spell for Van Gaal and the team that he now puts together without Rooney.
But you can't put a team together without Rooney. This is the whole point. What's going to become absolutely apparent and obvious to Manchester United in Wayne Rooney's absence is that Wayne Rooney is the cement and the glue of that team. I don't know why I'm even bashing the drum on this.
I don't know why you are either.
Because team Everton...
Because you're never wrong, that's why.
My team Everton are playing Manchester United this weekend,
yes.
Okay, to lunchtime kick-off on Sunday.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going. I expect Everton to win that game. I expect that Manchester United will miss Wayne Rooney dreadfully. The one team he really likes playing against every season is Everton, his old club.
Well, shouldn't he have thought of that before he raised his leg?
Well, yes, he should have done. And of course
clearly
he should.
He didn't think of that because he's not a good leader.
He's a very good leader and he tries too hard. You know as well as I do. I was in Russia a few years back when England played Russia. Wayne Rooney scored the opening goal. He took it on his chest, he turned, he half-volleyed it. England 1-0 up. Guess who got the equaliser?
I don't know who.
Russia from a penalty, OK?
Well, I knew Russia would get the equaliser.
Who gave away the penalty?
Well, you're going to tell me who scored it.
Who gave away the penalty?
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, because he was so active on the pitch that night. After scoring a goal, he was full of ebullience. Ebullience is another word for Wayne Rooney. He dashed down the other end of the pitch. He clattered a chap in our area.
Well, he's a liability then, isn't he?
He's not a liability. He just tries too hard and you have to take the... I mean, if he's a liability, Paul Scholes was a liability, wasn't he? Paul Scholes didn't even know how to tackle. Paul Scholes, the white Pele, as he was known.
I don't think you would say he didn't know how to tackle.
He didn't know how to tackle.
He only knew how to tackle one way, I think.
No.
Paul
Scholes didn't know how to tackle at all. Paul Scholes should never have tackled anybody. He should have been banned from tackling. If I was Sir Alex Ferguson, the one thing I would have done is I would have banned Paul Scholes from tackling anybody.
Alex Ferguson. He was a great leader.
Of course I'm not Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson brings football knowledge to the world. I bring linguistic knowledge to the... What are you laughing at?
Well, you said it wrong.
To the world, and inject some of the thoughts which... the common man is thinking, but unable
let me tell you what
to
the common
put to
man is
people like
thinking.
you who sit there and spout the greatest load of rubbish you've ever heard. The Wayne
Well, I'm
Rooney
sorry you got
theory,
so worked up about it.
the Wayne Rooney theory that you've tried to exemplify tonight is complete and utter balderdash.
Well, we'll talk in 3 weeks and we'll see how it's all gone. Sean says this on the basis of your linguistic genius.
Yeah.
It only took 20 seconds for Porky to talk nonsense. Rooney is overrated and won't be missed
No,
at
that's
all.
not true. Give me a call, any of you. Give me a call. I'll tell you the number is
Go on, look at the
08717
number.
223344. What do you
I
mean
can't
look at
believe
the
you have
number?
to look it up.
Well, I haven't got my glasses on.
Why can you not
I
remember
can't
it, though?
broadcast with my glasses on.
Well, yeah, but it's the only number we ever give out.
I know that, but I sometimes, in the heat of the moment, the sequence of numbers goes a bit awry in my brain.
Yeah.
But
It's not all that goes awry.
No, but most people who are listening now will agree with me, because your theory's vacuous. It's a vacuous theory, and I think it's designed to promote, which I'm not objecting to, and promote
Yeah.
debate. Okay,
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
mind
designed
that.
for that. It's just
I
what I
don't
think.
mind that.
It's just what I think. I'm not in the business of
But when
promoting
I come
debate
and,
that I don't believe in.
when I come and cross-debate it with you and prove that your theory is full of
But you can't prove it,
more
though.
holes than,
You can't prove it.
than
You
in
can-
a colander.
You can only prove it 3 weeks from now when Wayne Rooney returns, and we'll see how good the team
I
is
know
without
how
him.
these things work. I really know how these things work. I really do. Alan Pardew, I mean, what a night he's had. But nobody should sack Alan Pardew.
I
Alan
don't think he's
Pardew's a
going to
brave
ever be
man.
sacked. I don't think he'll ever be sacked.
Well, you may well be right. If he is, who's going to go there? Who's going to go to Newcastle?
David Moyes,
No,
apparently.
no. Any manager who goes to Newcastle will be told, by the way, these are the restrictions upon your job. And the restrictions are that the only level of achievement to be attained is mid-table. Make sure we don't drop into the relegation zone.
Well,
And
they're
you've got-
already in the relegation zone.
well, they are now. They've got to get out of it,
Well,
obviously.
they've been
I'm
in it ever since the start of the season, haven't they?
I'm talking about it, yeah. I'm talking about a new manager coming in. If a
Yeah.
new manager comes in, that's what we're told. And, by the way, there is no budget, and therefore you've got to do it on the resources you have now. If you want to buy some new players, flog a few players, bring a bit of money in, buy medium to average players, and just make sure
Well,
that
that's
we...
what they do all the time, isn't it?
Just make sure we bubble around in the middle of the Premier League there. I'm not. Why do you think Mr. Ashley owns Newcastle United?
Because it makes a steady profit for him, and it's a great
Does it?
opportunity for him to use to promote his other business.
I
which
think
is-
it's to promote
which
his
is
other
the Sports
businesses,
Direct
probably.
business.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be unduly critical of the man in saying that he's not a football fan. For all we know, he is a big football fan.
Well, I think he is a football fan.
But, he does play the role of super fan, doesn't he, to Newcastle
He does.
when he wants to.
Yeah.
And he sits there drinking the alcohol-free beer.
Yeah.
Let me stress, that's inside the ground in Newcastle.
I don't know what
And-
the point of alcohol-free beer
No,
is.
I
by
don't
the way.
either. No, I've never
When
understood
I went
it.
to the El Clasico game at Barcelona,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
sponsored by this beer company,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh great, they're sponsored by a beer company, I'm going to get a couple of beers, and they only sell alcohol-free beer inside the new camp.
Rubbish.
It's awful.
Might as well drink
What's the
pop.
point?
Might as well drink pop. At
Well,
least
you might as well
pop's
not drink anything.
Well, yes, but you have to reliquidate yourself and rehydrate, or else you go away. I saw Gary Neville on a TV programme tonight explaining why Mignolet, the Liverpool goalkeeper, hasn't got his act together. It was brilliant. I think Gary Neville's brilliant. What he did was, I'll move away from the microphone a little bit.
Yeah.
He crouched down, even though he's in a suit. And he said, why is Mignolet like this,
Yeah.
with his hands just a foot off the ground when a player's coming through?
Yeah.
When, in fact, he
should
should
be
be standing
standing
up
up.
four square. And then he illustrated how Liverpool's last opponents, and it wasn't Everton, it's one before that, actually fired a shot into the net, which, if he'd have had his hands at chest level, he would have been able to reach and push over the bar,
Yeah.
because Neville found a clip of a goalkeeper who stood four square to the attacker rather than crouching to him,
Yeah.
who actually managed that manoeuvre.
But it's difficult, isn't it? Joe Hart stands four square, but then
Yeah.
sometimes the ball goes through his legs.
Yeah, well, what Gary Neville is saying is a goalkeeper should be able to work out whether the pace at which a forward's coming towards him will, result in a ball being lifted off the ground or not. You should be able to tell that. And he reckons that by crouching down and not being able to spring into action, like a coiled spring, bang, going into the air, that he was actually at fault and defaulted on the defensive mechanism of the team.
Well, a lot of people are having a go at Mignolet this year, saying that he's just not up to it for some
I
reason.
saw him
It's not-
play for Sunderland against Everton 2 years ago when I was sitting next to David Miliband, actually.
Oh, yeah.
The man who was
The great
going to
Sunderland
be...
fan that
was
he
gonna,
is.
actually, it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago.
Heaven's sake.
But it was David Miliband, who was then a director of
Yes.
Sunderland, was going to be the next leader of the Labour Party, never
Right.
was, now gone to America. But I was sitting next to him. I tried to give him some advice on how his political career should go. And that night,
And that's when
Mignolet
he left the country.
He left shortly afterwards. Mignolet was the outstanding player on the pitch that night, and Everton lost.
Yeah, he was a brilliant player for Sunderland, but not so brilliant this season so far for Liverpool. We'll take your calls coming up. 08717 22 3344. Porky, as ever, is defending Wayne Rooney. I think he's wrong. I think we'll find out in 3 weeks' time.
Well, on this occasion, I'm right.
Well, we don't know, but we'll find out in 3 weeks.
I know.
Yeah, because you can see the future, can't you?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
Psychotherapy, 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 that's what they want to give me. Psychotherapy, 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 what they want to give me.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. Mike Parry is here with me. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out. Jason, who's a Liverpool fan, says this. Sorry, Mr. Parry, but I remember you quite clearly the other week saying that Balotelli is a liability, and now you're going to say that Rooney isn't a liability. I'm just saying that the theory doesn't really add up.
Do you know one of the problems with Balotelli at the moment, why his head's all over the place, is Micro Pig is still back in Italy.
His Micro Pig?
His Micro Pig, literally still back in Milan, and he's apparently pining for it. And
there was a very odd piece of footage that was put out on Twitter, actually, over the weekend, and it was Balotelli sucking out of one of these helium balloons. And singing Liverpool, Liverpool, Liverpool in a very, very high-pitched voice, which was quite funny, actually.
Very, very odd indeed.
Anyway, let's talk about Phil Mickelson, because I want to hear what you have to say about Mickelson. Do you agree with me that he's shown very poor form, and I'm very disappointed in him?
We're definitely going to talk about Mickelson, but I want to remind the audience, because, I'm on a limited amount of time here on your show tonight. I will be talking to you very soon about the evolution of man.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
I've come across a new document. Do you know that all of us will have size 13 feet in a few years?
Really?
Yeah, we're all getting so fat and heavy that there's more weight on the body. That means
what size shoes do you have?
8.
Currently?
8
so
and a
a
half.
little bit weird if I get to size 13.
9. I think it's
sure.
9. But anyway, the point of my story is that the weight presses down on the body, the feet start splaying. Not only will we all have size 12 or 13 feet, but they'll be webbed. They'll be they'll be like flippers in a few hundred years' time.
So you'll be able to swim a lot then?
Yes, you will be able to swim a lot if you want to swim. Yeah, but that's
like sort of duck feet.
But that's only part of the evolutionary process, which I'm going to get on to a minute.
Yes.
I feel I owe this to the audience because I can make some revelations which are going to shock people, absolutely shock them. Now, as for Mickelson, it was a terrible betrayal, was it not?
I think
Did
so.
you say that?
I think
I'm
so.
saying that
I didn't actually use the word betrayal, but I wish I had now, because it is a big betrayal.
Well, do you know what I think is going to be the logical outcome of this?
What?
I think Phil Mickelson has killed off the Ryder Cup, and I mean that sincerely. The Americans are so despondent at their performance in this one. I mean, they've been despondent for a few years now, because is it only 2 out of the last 10 they've won?
2 out of the last 10,
2 out of the last 10, so they got more and more despondent. They've come here now, not only were they humiliated out there on the course, but they've now been shown to be so bitter and twisted amongst themselves within the team. I think, this is my own theory, nobody's telling me this, but I have a very good way of looking at the world from all sorts of different angles, right? I think the American public...
Well, who's going to want to be captain for a start?
Well, quite. Who's going to want to be captain? Nobody. The American public are now so turned off by seeing these people go overseas. Americans don't like overseas anyway, do they? Americans are very
And also, they don't like anything they can't win.
They don't like anything they can't win. That's a very good point indeed. They don't like anything they can't win. They don't like taking part in competitions where other people batter them, not just beat them, but batter them. They're always used to being, as you quite rightly say, always used to being at the top of the table at the Olympic Games, at the Winter Olympics, some international competition. The Americans got to be at the top.
Yeah.
You know, they call.
They don't mind the World Cup, because they don't expect to be winning that. But they still want to do well, though.
Still want to win everything else. Now, the point is, it's going to end. The Ryder Cup is going to end, because eventually the Americans are going to say, if we go there just to get beaten every time, whether it's on home territory or it's over in Europe, the next one in Europe's in France, isn't it? You know, they don't like getting beaten by the French. I mean, the French, they hate, because the French never even got into NATO. So the idea that an American...
Can you imagine the crowd in France?
Absolutely. An American Ryder Cup team goes to France and suddenly beats them up, and they're going to say, but they've been virtually our military enemies since the Second World War, because they wouldn't join NATO. So they're going to get very upset about that. There'll be very little support for the Americans to go to France if they're as poor then as they are now. And I can just see the Ryder Cup completely collapsing. I can see that the American public won't back it. If the American public don't back it, it means American TV won't back it because the audiences won't be there. It means the sponsorship money won't come in.
And also,
because
if they can't, and if the
pay
decent players don't come, for example, and
Yep.
end up fielding a team which is
Yep.
even worse, then even the TV companies in this country are going to
Yes.
go, well, it's a foregone conclusion. There's not much point getting excited about it.
Absolutely right, mate. And listen,
You may be on
I'm-
something here.
I'm looking. Thank you very much. I'm looking at some of tomorrow's newspaper headlines, which we have the advantage of seeing now at just 2:20 in the morning, which most of you will see on your doormats between 6 and 8 o'clock tomorrow, or maybe on your train as you're going to work. You'll be leafing through the papers and all that. But I mean, some of the headlines are truly frightening. For instance. Derek Lawrenson, extremely well-respected golf writer for the Daily Mail, Big Phil's terrible act of betrayal.
Yeah.
And it says that, the joy of Europe was enhanced by the fact that the American team literally blew themselves apart in the press conference after the game. The Times, known as the Thunderer, the most famous newspaper in the world, Matt Dickinson, the chief sports writer or senior sports writer there, the man who's just written a book on Bobby Moore.
Yes.
His headline, Mickelson's Regicide. Regicide. Now, what does regicide mean?
Regicide is a kind of is against the king, isn't it? Basically, which is why I was saying. I mean, Tom Watson is this incredibly revered character.
Exactly, it's a plot to murder royalty, to murder the king, murder the man at the top. Now, what a great headline that is! Matt Dickinson's the writer who won't have written that headline, but Mickelson's Regicide, which basically means Mickelson has plotted to assassinate the most important man in golf in America.
And I think that will,
the
and
most
that will
important
reverberate,
man in golf.
as I said, I think it will reverberate back in America because Phil Mickelson will be
Yep.
looking at the likes of Jack Nicklaus, who will be very offended, I would think, about what he
Yes.
said. The people who are the holders of Arnold Palmer, who's still around. All those older guys who have been kind of the keepers of the sport in America.
Quite
and
right.
have shown all the great example of how to behave.
Quite
they
right.
will think Phil Mickelson is a bit of a lout after this.
Worse. And successive American sides failed to see a strong team requires team players. That's what Matt says. And then over on the other side, Matthew Syed, who is an extremely able
former table
writer.
tennis
former table tennis
Olympian, yes.
Olympian, that's right, and an extremely bright man went to Oxford University. Narcissism leaves Faldo with precious little love for peers. So Faldo even is getting involved and saying that Phil Mickelson completely emasculated his captain, Tom Watson. And even Faldo, who's never really been a great team player, with greatest respect to Nick Faldo, because he was one of the greatest golfers of all time, he sometimes found it difficult to play in with a team. But he says, this. How on earth can you put up with this? How on earth can you actually allow it to happen and stand around and be part of that team ever again? You're absolutely right in what you said. Who will want to be captain of that team in future?
Yeah,
and
it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few days with Mickelson.
Mutiny is the ultimate in sporting treachery. A new low for US golf, says Paul Haywood, the chief sports writer of the Daily Telegraph. Mickelson may have ruined Asia's hopes of taking the captaincy as well of his own of playing again ever in the tournament.
Yeah, very interesting stuff, isn't it? Here's another text from Dave in Bradford talking about Manchester United and Rooney. He says, Mike, can you get Mike Parry to stop shouting? You have a valid point about Rooney. Your co-worker, as he calls you, needs to calm down. Why can't he talk without shouting? Plus, he says, you have been right about Manchester United so far this season, which is true.
I'm not shouting. I'm merely trying to put my point forward, and I believe that volume is one way of emphasising the strength of your feelings about a particular subject. I think you're talking total garbage about Rooney. I said, time will tell on that one.
Well,
time will tell, but I know I've got it right. I know that what will happen in 3 games' time, the Manchester United fans and Louis van Gaal will be desperate to get Wayne Rooney back in that team because he is the very core of the team. He is the glue and the cement that holds that team together. All the other players are new. They've just come into the team, running around like headless chickens without guidance from Wayne Rooney. That is my view, and I am sticking to that.
Well, let's talk about somebody whose name rhymes a bit with Wayne Rooney. That's George Clooney.
George Clooney.
You like the way I did that?
Yeah, that's very good, Dad. I like that. You slipped into that nice and neatly. Mind you, you've had plenty of time to think about it because I've been doing all the talking so far.
That's true,
Not that I mean to. Not
unusually.
But sometimes it's necessary to let the audience know exactly the way this station's thinking, okay?
Yeah. I rather like the idea of him going off on all that flotilla of boats in Venice. It was a very glamorous-looking wedding. It was like a throwback to the 50s, wasn't it?
Well, it may be.
Right.
But
Well, were you not impressed? I know marriage is not something you like to talk about.
Well, I don't mind talking about marriage, but I do think if you're going to get married, I have much more respect for Daniel, what's his name, James Bond.
What's his name? Well, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, thank you. Now, when Daniel Craig got married, as far as I can recall, and I am in recall of most world events, right, he just went off and did it quietly and then announced it to the world afterwards that he and his girlfriend had got married. Is that right?
Yes.
That is right,
I think that is right.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think that's a much more dignified way of doing it than having a 4-day jamboree in Venice.
Yeah, but with the greatest respect to Daniel Craig.
Inviting everybody in the world to look on.
Yeah,
That poor girl.
But Daniel Craig is not Clooney, and in the end, Clooney could not have got married in secret. It just couldn't have happened. I don't agree. I don't agree. The idea of, people who are famous always under the spotlight, utter nonsense. Absolutely nothing would have stopped George Clooney from growing a beard, putting on a pair of sunglasses. He's already got a beard.
All right, we'll take a beard off then and put on some sunglasses, if you see what I mean, to get a flight to somewhere like Amsterdam, right? And then from Amsterdam, get a flight to Glasgow, and then hire a car and drive down to Gretna Green and get married there in secret.
And you don't think that would have been reported on by anyone?
Well, you can do, if you want to do it, you can do it. Famous people can get away with doing anything they want. I mean, for instance...
Well, you can do what Mick Jagger did. Do you remember when Mick Jagger flew off with, I think it was Jerry Hall, to Bali, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Bali. It was,
it was Bali.
Fiji.
You think it was Fiji?
Fiji.
I'm sure it was Bali.
No, it was Fiji. But anyway, it was around there somewhere.
Because then he later claimed, do you remember when they got divorced, that actually the marriage wasn't legal?
It wasn't a marriage, no. I copped Jagger once in Barbados.
Did you?
Fleeing from Jerry Hall. Yeah. He had a villa there, and I was driving my mini moke around trying to find him, and eventually I sort of almost drove into him.
Like something out of a Bond movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was, yeah. But no, look, I just think, I just don't get the Clooney thing at all. Why would he want a 4-day spectacular and get married? And the poor girl
he's waited a long time to get married. I think if you wait that long, you might as well have a big party, mightn't you?
Well, I don't agree with that. This poor girl who's got married to, what's her name again? Amal Alamuddin.
She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer, very lovely and beautiful girl, Amal Alamuddin. Now, she's now become a kind of hate figure to half the women in the world who think that they should have married George Clooney rather than her.
I'm sure she's prepared for
But
that.
I mean, talking about marriages, the other person in this marriage sort of story that we're talking about who absolutely fascinates me is Kelly Brook.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're a bit obsessed with Kelly Brook.
Well, I'm not obsessed by her. I mean,
you talk about her almost every show.
Well, she's an extremely good-looking girl,
she
right?
Is.
And she's not she's not a teenager anymore. I think she's 34 or something like that. And, she looks as beautiful now as she did 20 years ago, 10 years ago anyway. And what I'm going to say is, I mean, she can't find a bloke to marry. And you know why? Because she is so resolute in her own self-belief, A, about her beauty, and B, about her ability to do things that people want her to do, like to pose and all that kind of stuff, which she's very good at. She's so self-confident, and now such a wealthy young woman, the only sort of people she seems to attract are creeps.
Yeah.
She's even said it herself. She said, so the men are, so self-centred and so insecure and all this kind of stuff. So I just wonder if she's ever going to find a man to marry. And also, her big problem seems to be, to me, whenever she finds a guy and then they say, right, we're going to get married, then half the women in the world start getting bitchy towards her and attacking her and coming onto her fella and trying to tempt him away from her and all that. It must be a very hard life, a very, very difficult life, I'd say.
It certainly can be a hard life, I can tell you from that point of view. But stay where you are, because we've got lots more to talk about. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. We are the two Mikes. There'll be a podcast coming out soon. 08717 22 33 44. This is TalkSport.
I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, no, I'm an ape man. I'm a King Kong man, I'm a voodoo man, no, I'm an ape man. 'Cause compared to the sun that sits in the sky, compared to the clouds that say roll by, compared to the bugs and the spiders and flies, I am an ape man.
This is TalkSport Extra Time, and a very... I'm trying to think of the right word, but I can't think of it.
What are you trying to think of? What are you trying to do?
It's a very good song for what you're about to talk about.
It's
appropriate is the word
very
I'm looking for.
appropriate, yeah, a matching song.
I was looking for a better word than appropriate, but I completely forgot what it was going to be.
Yeah, well,
that's your era of song, of course. You'll know what that is, won't you?
Sorry?
That song we just played. You'll know what it was.
That's the Kinks. That's old Ray Davis. By the way, there's a musical on at the moment, isn't there? Is it called Lazy Sunday Afternoon or something?
Know.
It's about the Kinks, and with all the Kinks music in. I'm going to try and get to it because,
Where's it on?
I love those musical ones. It's at a theatre in London somewhere.
Oh, you're going to get 2 tickets, or you're just going to go on your own?
No, I'll get 2 tickets.
And who will you take?
Well, I don't like to put people in the spotlight unnecessarily, so I'll you know.
So you're not going to take me, in other words?
Well, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, I don't think you'd have enough appreciation of that, the culture of that sort of music. But anyway, look, it was an appropriate song. Listen to this. Listen to this. I've discovered this, and it's one of the most important discoveries I've ever made. Humans are descended from apes. We all know that, okay? But humans will then evolve into Sunday afternoon. Is that it?
There's an advert for it.
See,
there.
told you. Lazy Sunday
Open
afternoon.
Saturday.
There you go, I got these things right. Now then, if humans are descended from apes, the question that scientists have been asking themselves now for decades is, what will we evolve into? What will humans evolve into,
What, you mean
okay?
in terms of another kind of animal?
Well, of course.
Well,
Because
surely we evolved into humans. That's good enough, isn't it?
yeah, but you've got to understand that if we evolve from apes through the missing link and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, a few people who could
Some
qualify.
people are a bit
as
closer to it
missing
than
link.
others, obviously.
That's right,
Present
absolutely.
company accepted.
Yeah, our present company accepted. But now a guy called Mark Thomas, okay, professor of the evolutionary genetics at University College London,
Oh, yeah.
okay, has now written a document, and some of the predictions are quite frightening. For instance, within a few hundred years, or maybe a few thousand, we could all have 4 eyes instead of 2, because we will become increasingly short-sighted.
Well, why does this matter?
Well, it matters because
If it's going to be a few hundred years, it's not
Yeah.
as if it's going to, you're suddenly going to turn up here with 4 eyes and third size 13
Well,
feet.
hang on. If you say it
You'd
doesn't...
have to get a new car.
Well, hang on. If you say it doesn't matter, if you say it doesn't matter, why are people constantly going on about, the evolution of the world and, what will the world be like in, 10,000 years'
because people worry about
time?
things that they shouldn't worry about.
Yeah, well, anyway, look, we could have smaller heads because our brains will shrink because we won't need as much information because machines will look after things. We could all have 4 eyes because as the art of conversation and communication increases, you will need to see less but be able to speak more.
So why would you need more eyes then if you're going to see less?
Because they will become inefficient. Because they're not used as often, they will not become as efficient
Well,
as the
why
eyes.
don't you go from 2 eyes to 1 eye instead of from 2 eyes
Well,
to 4 eyes?
when I say 4 eyes, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you'll have 4 different eyes in your face.
Right.
You will have what some animals have, and that is a multiple number of eyes in the same socket. You see what I mean?
Do you mean more irises?
Not necessarily. More covers to your eyes and that sort of stuff. Your eyes will...
More eyelids?
Yes, it could be more eyelids, and your eyes will develop different priorities. No, hang on.
I'm sure this guy's not a comedian.
No, he's not a comedian. As to what they've got to do now, perhaps one of the most startling, most startling things going to happen is that your teeth at the moment are all separate teeth.
Yeah.
But it is presumed by Professor Thomas that eventually...
So we'll all look like American TV hosts
No.
with veneered teeth.
No, in fact, your teeth will all mould together into a beak, and that will stick that will stick out of your mouth, and will look like birds.
That is the most ridiculous thing.
No.
I mean, there is no evidence to suggest, actually, that the human sort of body, the human frame, has really evolved very much at all since it became whatever it was from the missing link.
Listen to this. Because of a rise in tooth decay, right? Dr. Gareth Fraser, he's another scientist, a biologist at the University of Sheffield, reckons our teeth will merge to form a solid pointy beak. It's thought a beak...
That's ridiculous.
No,
That's totally ridiculous.
it's not me saying it. It's a very eminent scientist. It is thought a beak would be more resilient than a set of teeth and could last a lifetime, so no more dentures or fillings in the future. Dentists will
That'd be great, wouldn't
irrelevant.
it? So you go to the dentist and you
yeah.
say, look, the bad news is that all your teeth are going rotten, but the good news is I can give you this prosthetic beak, so you'll look like the way that people are going to look in the next 1,000 years.
You won't need a...
Can you imagine walking out of a dentist with a
No,
beak?
you won't need a prosthetic beak. Now, we're all going to live to 120, but we all knew that anyway.
Yeah.
And in fact, that could come as early as 2050. That could be a simple... What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the idea that what Beaky would look like.
Oh, Beaky, Beaky with his beak. Yeah, that's rather cruel, isn't it?
It is.
And finally, the flipper feet I've already told you about, right? Now...
Yeah, but this presupposes that the human form is going to actually change and morph into something else, which
It
it
is.
so far has never done.
It
I mean,
has.
everything that the human body
Of
has
course it
done
has.
is to...
Don't you
is-
remember
is to-
Neanderthal Man?
Yeah, but all it's done is it's evolved
Actually,
into a
that was
higher form of a human
That
being.
was another record, wasn't it? I'm a Neanderthal man, you're a Neanderthal girl.
He was a bit obsessed with the old
Let's get-
missing link, wasn't he, Ray Davies?
No, that wasn't Ray Davies. This
it?
was some bum group that did
Was it?
about one record, you
Oh,
know. Let's make Neanderthal love in a Neanderthal world.
I do remember that song,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, and that was some dopey group was put together by, some bubblegum type. Now,
Trogs.
Now the other. So I've told you about the flipper feet because we get heavier. The average waist size, within 40 or 50 years, could be 60. 60 inches. 60 inches,
Blimey.
right? And because we're all getting bigger.
That'd be very attractive, are you?
Yeah. Yeah, listen to this. Look, isn't that amazing what our technical people can do?
Incredible, isn't
They
it?
are genii. They're genii, those
They
guys.
are brilliant. John was actually telling me that apparently the human being used to have a third eyelid before this.
Well, there you
At
go.
some point in the evolutionary process.
That could come back. Now, we all know we're getting bigger and fatter because that's why I've started my campaign already on fat people who use motability scooters, disabled people,
Well, they
of
won't
course,
need
need them.
mobility scooters. They just swim everywhere with the big feet and the beaks, don't they?
Well, the thing is, more weight presses down on your feet spread out, your feet then become large and flat, size 10
Any
or
pregnant
size
woman
12.
will tell you that's the case, actually. When they're pregnant, their feet swell and they get much bigger.
And they turn into flippers. And fingers that turn into tentacles. Fingers may become a thing of the past, replaced by tentacles. Claims that the more we tap away at devices such as iPhones, iPads and other touchscreen technologies, the more nerve endings we will acquire in our hands, something that could be passed down through the genes, and then our fingers and hands could become longer
This
and
is
reduce...
the biggest load of old rubbish I've ever heard.
No, and reduce the need to stretch. We wouldn't just wake up with the X-Men style of power. It depends on how the environment changes. We could reach a point where we can control genetics and introduce this ourselves. But, I mean, you can see there's logic in everything
I
this
can't see
report
any
says.
logic in that.
There is logic in everything that the report says, because that's the way that the world is going, and that's the way that we're going to react to it. And
But I mean,
it's
say,
frightening.
for
It's
example,
frightening.
years and years ago, people said,
Yeah.
loads of people are going to now be born without tonsils. Loads of people are going to be born without appendix.
Yeah.
Because, so many people have them removed.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened. People are not born without appendices. People are not born without tonsils. We continue to be born with the same organs that people had, 4,000 years ago. So, I mean, yes, there is a process of evolution going on,
Yeah.
but it's very slow. I mean, apes, for example, are not evolving. I mean, it's one of the arguments that people say who are against the whole evolutionary theory because they like to believe instead of the creationist stuff. And they say, well, why haven't all the animals evolved into something? And yes, that does go on, but you don't see apes suddenly becoming something else, do you? They're not turning into birds.
But apes have become humans, mate. That's what you
Well,
don't
no, but
understand.
there are still apes, though.
Yeah, but there are still some apes left behind.
There's quite a lot of them.
There's still some apes left behind, but basically they do become humans, and that's not just the only thing. Whilst the human being is changing, so is the environment
Yes,
in which we live.
it is.
And I could tell you
But the
another.
environment's changing faster than the people on it.
I've got another great theory about that, but I
Have you?
might leave that till Thursday, actually,
right,
because
you
it's
might
a
want to leave
very
it till
detailed
Thursday.
scientific study which I need to explain to you and reveal to the world.
We might have to get an expert on because it's getting late. 08717 22 33 Porky's Mad Evolutionary Theory. There'll be more about that on Thursday night, of course, with the two mics. It's Talk Sport. TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We're going to have a lot more of this evolutionary claptrap coming up on Thursday in the show.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you immediately prejudice the audience against me by calling it claptrap? That's only your opinion.
Well, it's not just my opinion.
Mate, you're not bright enough to take in some of the theories in the world. Consistently, when I try to guide the world through the changes that are going to come, because my eyes are open, because I can see things, you can't. And you completely dismiss it because you know your intelligence factor isn't able to keep up with it.
All right, well, hang on a second. It's just me, because we're going to talk to a guy now called John, who's just rung in. He's got a PhD in evolutionary psychology,
Excellent.
right? So I'm sure he's going to no doubt endorse what you've just told us.
Excellent.
John, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, both of you.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
hi,
much
John.
for calling. Is Porky right?
Porky's wrong on every single thing. As well as he usually being wrong about the Beatles and stuff, he's wrong about evolution tonight.
Well, hang on. You have a PhD, John, in evolutionary psychology, is that right?
That's right.
I respect you for that, but psychology is all about the mind. It's not about the physical shape of people. So what do you know about it?
Well, I have to get an evolution in psychology PhD, one has to know about how evolution works, how natural selection works in the Darwinian sense.
Right. Well, don't you think we'll all get bigger feet if we get heavier and fatter like we all are doing?
No, we're not going to get bigger feet because of that. But
Yes, we are.
First of all, we didn't descend from apes. Apes and humans have a common ancestor. We're cousins of the apes. We went off one way towards humans from that common ancestor. The apes went off another way. The gorillas split off. The orangutans split off.
And what about the ones that were left behind, John?
Well,
like as Porky described them.
Which ones were left? I don't know who's left behind. I mean, our common ancestor is extinct.
Well, maybe, but what happened to the missing link? Where did the missing link disappear to?
Well, if you mean a missing link,
Lincoln.
a missing link between apes and humans was our common ancestor, which died millions of years ago. It became extinct millions of years ago.
This is all. I mean, honestly, John, I don't know when you took your degree, but it sounds like a lot of drivel to me. Do you not agree that our fingers are going to get longer if all we do these days is hit touch screens? If all we do is use our fingers to tap out messages on mobile phones, then of course the finger's going to evolve and get longer and stronger.
Why wouldn't it get shorter?
Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
If you took a baby that was born today and took him back in time 50,000 years ago, he would grow up exactly in that community 50,000 years ago perfectly. No one would notice any difference.
No,
that's what I was saying.
Can't be true.
I'm
That
saying
can't be
that.
true.
If you took a baby from 50,000 years ago and raised him in a modern environment in the centre of London, he would put him to school like a normal child today. He would grow up just like a normal child. No one would know any different because we're exactly the same species we were 50,000 years ago.
No. Completely untrue, because all the genes from your parents would still be in your body. The dietary needs and requirements of human beings have to be taken into consideration. 50,000 years ago, we don't even know that people used to eat food. It could have been absorbed through their skin because they might have been amoeba-like. And
They might have been, but they probably weren't.
And you have to understand all these things, okay?
We've been the same species for 50,000, probably 100,000 years. Homo sapien, the same
John,
genus. Homo, the same
I want to
species.
thank you for calling in, and of course I respect you as a
No, you
highly
don't.
educated
You do
man,
not.
but I'm not sure you and I are talking the same language about the same evolutionary theories that I've come across and the ones that you know so much about. But I respect
Well, I
you
think,
and thank
I think
you.
we should get John on for a longer spell, because, John, we haven't got a lot of time tonight, unfortunately, so do come on Thursday night and we can explore some more of your evolutionary psychology facts as opposed to some of this nonsense you've been spouting.
No, it's not nonsense. I never come on and talk about things unless I research them. Now, we were talking about the Ark, okay?
Yes, you were.
Right, now...
Because we had a little bit of Ark music just before that.
That's right. What was that
It's
music?
different from Ant music.
What was it?
Well, it was the music from a show that was a cartoon about the Ark.
Oh, really? Okay, fine.
Noah and
Now-
Nelly, I think it was called.
Yeah, you won't believe the discovery I've
Sorry,
made
didn't mean
here.
to interrupt you there.
No, that's
you
okay.
asked me a question, you don't even wait for the answer.
Sorry, what was the
Yeah.
answer
It
again?
was Noah and Nelly. It was a cartoon.
Noah and Nelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that sounded so irrelevant to me that
It's
I
like a
just
kid's
skimmed over
cartoon.
it. I'm sure the audience want to hear about Noah and Nelly. But listen, there are 130,000 ancient clay tablets, right?
Are there?
In the world, yes.
Have you
stored.
taken most of those, have you?
No, don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. Now,
You take about 120,000 of them a day.
They're stored in various, great museums around the world, including the British Museum. Now, you won't believe this. You won't believe this.
No, I won't.
But these
Almost
scientists,
certainly.
study these tablets all the time. No, honestly, I know. I'm just preempting you, mocking this
can't.
again. It's a
You
theory.
can't preempt it.
I can, because one of the tablets that they've studied, they've discovered was actually the building plans for Noah's Ark.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they amazingly, it's here. Let me find
And
the
where is this
details
one?
here. Well, I think it's actually in London. It's called the Ark Tablet, right? And because it's been written in sort of some ancient language, what is it? What
Well,
is
it would have been.
Yeah, that's right.
Sanskrit.
Yeah. But it's translated to instructions on the building of the Ark.
Really?
Yeah, and you look at it.
Is it like a
and-
flat pack type scenario?
Well, it's from Mesopotamia, you see, so it's written in some...
Mesopotamia?
Yeah, Mesopotamia, and it's in some really old ancient language, but what it reveals that the Ark...
The ancient Mesopotamian.
Yes, that's right. It reveals that the Ark wasn't, in fact, like an ordinary boat,
Yeah.
like the same shape as a yacht or something like that.
Right.
It was round, which meant that when the floods came and all that, the Ark wouldn't have got very far. It would have just been spinning round. Because obviously, if you've got
Well,
a
as long as
round
it
boat...
didn't sink, that was the main thing, I suppose.
Well, no, it didn't sink, obviously. But if it's round, and I don't suppose they had much in the way of rudders in those days, you know what I mean? It was just really
Well, it's not much point in having a rudder if the boat's round, really.
Well, yeah, it is. I suppose that's right. I don't know
A bit
what...
like a coracle.
Yeah, it would be a bit of coracle. But anyway, it's a fantastic discovery. And if I could find the name of the language, because I did write it down here somewhere. But it is quite amazing after all this time, they
How have
found
they
it.
only just found it if they had all these things in museums all over the world?
Well, I think it's taken literally hundreds of years to interpret what's written on these tablets. You know, these tablets are... And they might have only found the tablets a few
Not
years ago.
Etruscan or something, is it?
No. They might have only found the tablets a few years ago.
Right.
And if they found the tablet a few years ago and scientists have been working on it ever since, they might now only just have worked out it was the building plans and the building regulations for the Ark. And obviously it's in a very ancient language. There can't be many people in the world who speak it, but it is there. And I think that's one of the most, the greatest discoveries I can imagine.
It's not Sumerian, the language. Is
No.
it, by any chance?
It's hang on. If you give me a minute.
You said you'd researched it. I presume you'd
building
know it.
specifications. It's called Finkel's tablet.
Finkel?
Yeah, Finkel.
Who was he?
And well, I don't know. And the
Why
fact
don't you know?
the Ark was round is the headline finding of.
We've done that.
Of deciphering this, pictures of oblong multi-deck boats that look like neat country cottages will have to be redrawn because, the idea that it was a little square box on top of a boat is not right. The mobile phone-sized Ark tablet is kept now in a posh red box with instructions of the building the Ark written on it. And
That's not very big.
It's
the size of a mobile phone.
that's
and
right.
that's how you build an Ark.
Well, yeah, because they...
What, in his 50 words on how you build an Ark?
No, because obviously the whatever's written on it is written in very small type or
Well, it
very
must be
small
very
print.
small.
It says it's the ghosts of ancient Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia?
Yeah. Cast a new light on the original shape of the Ark. First illusion of the animals going into... Oh, it makes the first allusion to animals going in 2 by 2. Now, isn't that incredible? Hey?
No.
It really is.
It's not. I don't believe it.
Yeah, well, you can't disbelieve it because I'm telling you, this
You
is...
haven't really given me any facts at all.
It's come from...
You've got a piece of stone tablet,
yeah.
which is the size of a mobile phone, which
Yeah.
is tiny. You're telling me that somebody put on there how to build a round boat.
Yes.
And then put two different animals from every single species.
Well,
on.
that's what it says.
There's not enough room on there.
That's what it says in this language, And I forgot to find out what name the language was. It's an
Not
ancient
Aramaic, is it?
No, it's not Aramaic. But anyway, look, I think it's absolutely incredible that sort of thing exists. But look, that's the old world. The modern world, Mike, the modern world, you wanted to talk to me about the fact that
I think we need to explore all of these things, the Ark and all of that, for heaven's sake.
Yeah. But modern man, and I think this is a ridiculous survey. It's a survey that we've discovered, haven't we? It's just been published. 6 out of 10 modern men.
Yeah.
Modern men are classed between the age of 18 and 35.
Are they?
Prefer to go to a spa
That doesn't surprise me.
than a pub.
That doesn't surprise me.
Rubbish. Utter
Well,
rubbish.
a lot of men now use, products that would have been previously associated with women, like moisturiser. I can't imagine that you use moisturiser at all, do you?
I used to use stuff that was like a purple,
Purple?
No, like a salmon type colour.
Salmon?
L'Oreal was it, or something like that?
Isn't that tanning accelerant?
No. It wasn't. I've never put tanning stuff on my face. No, this was. I used to rub it in to try and stop wrinkles appearing on
Really?
my face, but I mean, it was
Really?
pointless.
You used to use wrinkle cream?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pathetic.
Well, that was about 20 years ago when I
Well, that's
thought the
ridiculous.
ravages of
It
age
didn't
were
work
coming
either,
upon me.
by the
No,
way.
it didn't work, and I couldn't care less whether it worked
Did you
or
used
not
to
now.
go into a chemist and buy it?
I used to buy it in places like John Lewis.
Really?
Or Fraser, House of Fraser.
Because
Used
I'm
to
worth it?
Yeah, that's right. Because I got it from House of Fraser. I don't think it was L'Oreal. It was called something else. But it was a ladies, moisturiser
lady
cream.
stuff?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would like some ladies' cream because I'm a lady.
What am I called? Am I called a metrosexual for using ladies?
You would be, yeah. But you're
ladies-
probably the least metrosexual person I know.
Well, there you go. You see, so
I never thought of wearing a salmon pink shirt, for example.
I still have the power to shop. No, I won't wear salmon pink. But you know what? I've had a look at some of the video from our live show last Friday night, and I wore too light a shirt.
Did you? Was
And
it covered in sweat again?
No, it wasn't covered in sweat. There was nothing wrong with that, but it did expose 1 or 2 excessive pounds, which I wish had been hidden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, the stage and camera does not lie.
Because you, to hide your fatness, wear a dark suit.
No, I wore a light suit and then a dark suit. I wore 2 different suits.
No, but you had a dark suit on because you
In
knew
the
that...
second show, yeah.
You knew that it's very successful, by the way.
It was.
Thank you to all the people who
was.
came along, and we have been in negotiations today for a further show
Another
before
one.
Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll find out about that in due course. But
Indeed.
I actually once
Would you
went to. I used to go to spas quite a lot. In fact, I used to go to St Andrews.
Where are these spas?
Well, all over the place. I mean, in Scotland, a lot of hotels.
And what do you
have
do when you
spas.
get to a spa?
I once went and had a hot rock treatment in the Old Course Hotel in St Andrews, where basically
rock?
you lie down on a massage table and they put these rocks, which have been heated in an oven, on your back.
What's the point of all
And
that
also they do a
rubbish?
hot wax treatment,
What
It's very
is-
relaxing.
Oh, relaxing.
And I once went to a spa, a very famous spa, not far from Leicester, actually, with my girlfriend at the time, and I was the only bloke there. It was
Yeah.
full of women, and it was great. We had a great time.
Have you ever been
But
in
of
one of
course,
these-
I actually arrived, and we got this room because it was a bit of a press deal. They got the biggest room in the place, and they had this balcony overlooking the sort of forecourt.
Yeah.
And I brought up about 6 bottles of wine, and I was out on the balcony smoking and drinking.
Yeah.
And people thought that was not the right thing to do.
Well,
at a
I shouldn't
spa.
think it is. Have you
And
ever-
when I finally got to be massaged, they said your skin's very dehydrated. I said, well, that'll be the 4 bottles of
Exactly.
of Pinot Grigio. I
Not
drank
to
last
mention
night.
the tobacco and
Yeah.
the nicotine that takes
Yeah.
the dry.
But
the
spas are great. You
moisture
should
out your
go.
skin.
You'd love it.
Have you ever been to one of these that I've read about, where you get into this like dark tunnel on a boat and you float around in water?
Oh, like an isolation tank.
I've no idea.
No,
I've no
I've
idea.
never done that.
Apparently, that's very, very
That's
mind.
good for you as well.
Yeah, mind blowing or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you have to have a mind first before you can blow it. That was the Two Mics podcast.
Yes, it certainly was. Don't forget, it's out every Tuesday and every Friday morning on iTunes.
And you can follow us at the Two Mics.
So keep listening for more of MG's loose morals. Believe me, this boy hasn't got a moral fibre in his body.
And more of his bizarre buffoonery.
Porky's wrong on every single thing.
What?